Welcome, first and second graders. We are about ready to do the second part of our Charley Harper inspired winter cardinal with maybe a fox paper collage. The things that you will need today are, let me take these little birds off here, the birch tree background that we worked on last week. You will also need a scissors, a pencil, a Sharpie. These are the ones that Mr. Warner always has in his classroom. Some glue, Elmer's glue all or a glue stick like last week, whichever one works best for you. And the different scraps of red and orange and black papers that we are going to use for the background. So to get started, you can see I have the fox and 3 cardinals that I'm going to need to glue down on mine at some point. I want to show you what they look like. Obviously, we're going to be putting, you're going to put yours and choose how many you're going to do for yourself. But I'm going to show you how to cut out, draw and cut out the different parts that we are going to need for our different birds. So we have one cardinal that is sitting on a branch, got a tail and is looking forward. Once we glue this down, we'll draw in 2 little eyes. We have another one that's facing us, but we have wings coming out to the side like it is flying. Then we have a side profile view of a cardinal. And then at the very bottom on the ground we have a fox. So we're going to start with our cardinals, then we will move to our fox. So I'm going to set these aside. You can take your collage and set that off to the side because we will use that later. Okay, so these are the types of cardinals that we are going to be making. So what you want to do is to grab your pencil and your Sharpie and then choose some of the red paper that I sent home with you. It can be one of the patterned ones or it can be one of the solid ones. That's your choice. So I'm going to start with a patterned one. I'm going to flip it over so that I don't get marker on the pattern. And the first thing that I'm going to want to do is to draw a triangle or the letter V. So I have the letter V upside down. You could draw it right side up, which that would be fine too. I'm just trying to use the paper well. Then we're going to go ahead and we are going to draw a half circle on top. So it looks a little bit like an ice cream cone. That is going to be the base of the body. Okay, so if I flip this over, you can see that's what it is. It's a little cone. Okay, the next thing that we're going to need to go with this is we're going to need the triangle for the tail. So I'm going to choose a different color and I am going to draw another V up against the edge. And I'll take a Sharpie so you can see it better. Now, if you're doing this on paper that's hard to see, you can just use the Sharpie right away. So I'm going to take my paper and my scissors and I'm just going to cut out the 2 shapes that I drew. I'll be flipping this over. That's going to be my back tail. And I'm going to cut out, I'll flip that over and so you can see we have the patterned side and we're going to have the tail. The next thing we are going to need is our black and we're going to need orange paper. You can use your orange patterned paper or you can use a solid. So instead of drawing a V, we are going to go to the top edge of our paper and we are going to draw a U. Okay? And that is going to be this part of the beak. So I'm going to cut that out. And again, I'll flip that over so you can't see. So there's the orange part. And I'm going to do that again with the black. Now the black Sharpie isn't going to show up well, so now I'm going to go back to my pencil. I need to draw another U, but I need it bigger than this one. So I'm going to set this down and I'm going to draw a U that is bigger. Okay? And you can, here, I'll just hold it up so you can see. You can see that pencil. So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to cut this out. So this is going to be our black part here. So I do this like that and I flip this one over and it's going to be like that. So there is my first cardinal. Now you can see I have the letter V on here, and that just shows you the edge of the beak. So I'm going to put a little dot in the middle of my orange paper, and I'm just going to draw with my Sharpie a V right there. So this will be this shape cardinal. You can do this, you can make as many cardinals as you want. So for the one with the flying wings, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to cut out little halves, like moons, for the wings. So I'm going to choose another red. This one's kind of a Christmassy red. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to draw half side of a circle, and then connect it like that so it looks like a moon. We're going to do that this way, and I'm going to do it again on the other side. And then we'll just cut those out. Now, some of your cardinals might be bigger, and some of them might be smaller. It's nice to have different sizes, which is why I'm having you do each one separately. So there you go. I can have a flying one as well. So I want you to pause the video, okay? And I want you to make at least 2 of these front looking cardinals, okay? So we did the one together, and then I want you to do one more. Try making some wings. So pause the video and then come back, and we will work on making our little side view profile cardinal. Okay, so you can see I have my second one done, and it has all of the 3 pieces for the body and then the 2 wings. And you can see I have my letter U's, the black one bigger than the orange one, and those are going to flip, and we'll be gluing those down, and I've included my little letter V here. If you needed to, I hope you watched again how I did this for this first one, if you needed that help for the second one. So now we're going to work on the cardinal that is in profile, or we have a side view. So you're going to choose another sheet of paper, and I'm going to flip it over again, and we want to do this basic shape. So we're going to draw a straight line like that, and then we're going to do a half circle and connect it with our line. We also are going to need, and you can choose another color. I'm going to flip it over, and I need to draw a triangle. I've chosen a corner of the paper, so I just really have to draw a line across that corner, and that's going to give me a triangle. So I've got one, you can see that's going to be my tail, and then I'm going to cut out just kind of cut, and this doesn't have to be perfect, you just do your best. So I've got my half circle, this one's going to be facing the other direction. I've got my little tail here on it, and now I just need an orange triangle for the beak, and I'm going to need another kind of triangle that's rounded in black. I'll take my black paper again, and you can see I have my U's that we used for the birds at the top. We're going to draw a triangle. I'll take my pencil, and I've already got a corner here in a line, so I'm just going to draw a line connecting that, a diagonal line, and I'm going to cut it like this. And I'm going to flip it over. So this is going to be for my cardinal. Now you can see this was too big, so I'm going to trim this, and I'll check it, so like that. Then I'm going to take my orange paper, and you might just have scraps of the orange, and I will again, I've got a corner here, so I'm just going to put a line across it. That's going to be for my beak. So you should be good at this. My second graders should be good at this because you did all sorts of wonderful paper cutting for your Kachina inspired paper sculptures. I've got a beak, so there's my bird in profile. If you want to make 2 or 3 of these, or more of your flying ones, or more of your ones that are going to be sitting on a branch, you can go ahead and work on that now. Pause the video and work on that. What we are going to do right at this moment is we're going to glue all of our pieces together. So I'm going to start with the one that we just made, and I'm going to just add, remember, a small amount of glue. You can put glue into like a plastic lid if you want, and then just dip your finger in to make it easy. But you can see I'm just using a tiny bit of glue. Okay, so I've got the my beak and the background. Now for the tail, I'm going to be gluing it on the back. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue on the front of the tail because it's going to go behind. So you can see how that's going to look. We want that to be drying while we are working on our foxes. You want your corners to come up to the top of the cone part where they touch. You're going to want your beak to be going the opposite way, so we have the round part on the bottom, and with our beak we want the round part on the top. I'm going to glue that. Our wings, we're just putting a tiny bit of glue on the top. Uh-oh, I put that on the wrong side. So I'm wiping it, putting it up, moving it up to the top, and sticking it on. I'll have to check that and make sure it stays. And our last one again. So we're going to set our new birds off to the side, and now we're going to work on our fox. In order to do the fox, we only need orange, white, and black. So we'll cut out all of our orange pieces first, and then we'll do all of the white and then all of the black. So I've got my orange, my black, and my white. So there are 2 big shapes that we want to make for the fox. This is very much like the cardinal that we did. We're going to draw a V, and then instead of rounding it, we're just going to put straight sides on it. So I know I want a straight side, so I'm going to make a dot. I'm going to draw a V, and then I am going to come to the edge of my paper. That is going to be the shape of the body. The next part I'm going to do is the shape of the head, which again is like the cardinal. We'll start with a V, but it will have a little bit flatter, round top. So I'm going to use my paper well, so I'm going to draw my V. And I want this to be a little bit small, and I want this to be a little bit smaller. So when I draw this rounded part, I can tell that this bottom one is bigger. The other two orange pieces we need are our ears, and those are triangles. And then we'll also need a tail. So I'm looking over at this part of the paper that I have, and down here, I am going to draw, there's one triangle. And again, if you do a V shape, and I draw it on the side, now I have two triangles, one on this side, one on this side. These will be the ears. And then I'm going to work along this edge, and I'm going to do a wavy line. That's going to be my tail. So I want you to take your scissors when you have these parts drawn, and I want you to cut out the shapes that you drew. And don't lose any of them. Those ears are kind of small. We're going to flip them all over so you can't see the black marks. And you can see, now we're just going to test to make sure we have all of our orange parts. So when we look at our fox, we can see that we have all the main parts out of orange. The next thing we need is our white. So we're going to trace our ears because we need our white triangles for inside the ears. We need these white triangles to be smaller than the ones we already cut out. So that's one ear. I'm going to trace this one. If we cut out these, they would be too big. So I'm going to go inside of those, and that's going to be the line. I'm going to cut the inside line. Okay, and I will use a marker to trace the smaller lines, so we'll know which ones we're cutting out for the ears. The next ones we're going to want to do are the half circles that we're going to put on the side of the face. So we want to go to the edge of your paper that you have here, and we are just going to draw two half circles. We're going to use these for the inside of the face of your fox. I'm going to make that one a little bigger. If you don't think you made them big enough, you can go ahead and do that. So we're going to cut those out. I'm going to cut out one and make sure I like how it's going to look. Okay, there's one. Ears. If you noticed, I cut the paper all the way off the big sheet because it's easier to do that. And so then I can cut that. You just keep holding it and you cut that. We need two more parts. We need white for the tail, and we need to do that same shape we did on our cardinal, right? But we're going to do it in white. So we'll go to the edge of our paper. Actually, I'll start up here, and we're just going to draw a U. That's going to be the U here for the inside of the belly. So I'm going to make mine a little bigger. I didn't make the first one big enough. Then we're going to trace the top part of our tail. So you can see that I've traced it. And then I'm just going to make it jagged. That's going to be the top part of our tail. That we can make the exact size. So we'll cut these out. I'll be flipping that upside down. I'm going to cut this off so it's easier to cut. And there's the edge of our tail. So we are done with all of the white pieces we're going to need. Now we just need our black pieces. We need 2 legs, a nose, and 2 eyes. So our nose and 2 eyes are small and kind of round, and then our 2 legs are basically the same U shape, but they're just thinner. So I'm taking my black paper, I'm going to go to the edge of it, and I'm going to draw that long U. So you can see it, and I'm going to do 2 of them. And when we draw them together, then we know they're the same height. And then I'm going to go ahead and right next to it, draw 3 circles. Best thing is to cut that section out. So I went across. So I cut out a square, and my square has all the drawings on there. I'm going to cut the first U out. Round. Now you could do what we've always done with Mr. Warner for these, where you cut out a square and then you just trim off the corners. But this is so small, it's a little hard to see. And it doesn't have to be perfect. But there's going to be the eyes. So those are all the pieces you're going to need. It takes a little while, but I encourage you to take your time and work on it. We want to glue this together, so I'm adding, just like we did for the birds, adding a little bit of glue to the back. We're going to be gluing these on the front, so I'm going to put 2 dots of glue on my head, and I'm just going to attach the orange part on the ears, and I'll do the same thing on the front of those so you can see. So there you have it. We have our little fox that's ready to go into the woods. I want you to make some room. You're going to grab your background, and we are going to attach our animals to our trees. And you can try them out. This one is flying, so I might have him kind of coming in on the side. This little guy I have resting on this branch, and I can maybe put this one up on top. play around. Maybe there are some different spots that you want your birds to go, and you want to try some different locations. Remember, if part of your bird comes off the edge, that's fine too. So you want to just find the right spot to put your animals. I think I'm going to keep my fox off to the side. Now, if you decided to do a couple of foxes, you can figure out if you want them together or spread out on the ground. You can also tuck them a little bit behind some of your grass if you want. So I'm sticking my fox. See, I've got my other fox. I could put him in front, but I think I'm just going to do one. And you can see his tail is going to come off the edge of my paper a little bit. And that's okay. I kind of like that. I'm going to put my bird. I'm not going to put glue on the wings. I'm just going to put it on the body. I'm going to have him flying over here. This cardinal I have sitting on this branch, and again I'm just going to press that down, and profile cardinal I'm going to have at the top by the moon on this branch here. So you can see I have my fox and cardinals. It's to take our markers, and at the points of the black U shape, we're just putting little dots, and those are the eyes for our cardinals. And there you have it. Use the marker, put your name at the bottom of your art creation, and post this on Seesaw so I can see your fantastic work. One other thing you could do is, if you have white paint at home, you could splatter it on here to make snow, or you could take a white crayon or oil pastel, I'll show you, and create little snowflakes. I'm doing just little X's so you can see them. If you have any gel pens, that would be fun to use as well. Your mom or older sibling might have some gel pens that are white, or some paint pens. That would work too. So there you have it. I've added a little bit of snow to mine. So there are sprinkles coming down. Post your pictures or collages up on Seesaw, and I look forward to seeing them. I hope you have a lot of fun making this.